Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Here comes a much awaited video, which is really going to help you to be more effective in your directed writing. This is the video which is going to talk about the use of language in your directed writing and how can you develop your style to get an A star. And this is called the use of rhetorical devices. Let's see that what are rhetorical devices and how are they used. Now, when we say that rhetorical devices, so it is actually a use of language that meant to have an effect. So there are certain elements of rhetorical devices which can be used quite effectively to impress our audience and to be more logical, to be more persuasive, and to be more convincing. Let's see that what are the elements of rhetorical devices. Though the elements of rhetorical devices are not new to you, but I'm sure that you haven't thought of using them in your directed writing. Let's see that what is the first and the foremost element of the rhetorical device. So the first element of rhetorical device, the very common figurative language, is a simile. And we know that in simile, we are actually comparing two things by using as or like. It's quite common and we know how to use it. The example is the eyes are like windows of the soul. The next comparison tool in the rhetorical device is the use of metaphor. Metaphor is also like a simile, but here we are not using as or like, we are on a little higher level. Like, we say simply that the eyes are the windows of the soul, or we can say that the life is a roller coaster by looking at the idea that there are ups and downs in the life. We may say that life is a bed of roses. So metaphors and similes are two very important rhetorical devices to show contrast of the ideas. Then comes the personification. In personification, we are actually giving some human qualities to non-human things, and they are again really very important way to be more logical and persuasive in a very good way, like the happy trees, the whispering wind, and who doesn't know about the famous example by Wordsworth, the dancing daffodils. The next thing which is really very important and perhaps you might not heard about it is an anecdote. So anecdote is actually telling of a short incident from our life to make our point, especially when we are delivering our speeches. Then the use of anecdote is quite helpful to make a point. You can say it like this, that I have an interesting story to explain this, or you may narrate it like this, that when I was a child I had this idea. Or you can definitely tell someone else's story to make a point. Then rhetorical devices are not ended here. There are a lot of rhetorical devices. I'm just going to talk about some few, the most important rhetorical devices, and it is not possible that you use all of them in your writing, but you can try using some of them while you are writing your directed writing or doing some composition tasks. The next rhetorical device is the use of exaggeration, which we call hyperbole, and it's something really very effective where we overstate something. Like the impact of our collective effort will be nothing short of revolutionary in the battle for a green world. So you see that we are actually highlighting on the effect of it. So the next device is an analogy. In analogy, we are actually comparing between two things. We are drawing actually a connection between two things. Look at the example. Just as a garden needs care and attention, our environment requires nurturing from each school in our community. So this is how we can create link between two similar ideas. The next thing which is quite effective, that is repetition. In repetition, we can go for repeating the first letter. Look at the example: recycle, reuse, and reduce. So such repetition creates a sort of rhythm, a music in our writing, and such styles are really very effective, and they are really very catchy. The next thing in it is an anaphora. In anaphora, actually we are repeating a word or a phrase to create a good effect. Like together we can make a difference, together we can create a sustainable future, together we can move on. And who doesn't know about the famous speech of King Martin Luther, where he repeats, I have a dream several times. So I'm sure that these examples are really enlightening you, and they are really giving you an idea how to be more effective, more persuasive in your directed writing and be more logical. The last thing and the most important thing is the use of rhetorical question. And without rhetorical question, your persuasive writing is incomplete. So rhetorical question is a type of question which is only put in your writing to create an effect and to attract your reader's attention. So can we afford to ignore the environmental changes our school faces? So such questions are often put forward by the speaker to be more effective and to quickly grab the audience attention. I'm sure that you're going to give hand to these in your rhetorical devices, and you are going to be more effective in your argumentative writing, in your persuasive writing. That is your directed writing. And by being more effective, you can definitely get hand on higher grades. So thank you very much. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.